right.
We're rolling.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Nerdbuzzed.
Nerdbuzzed doesn't condone the consumption of alcohol by any persons under the age of 21. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome to Nerdbuzzed, the podcast where we talk about all the nerdy stuff that we care about and drink a cool frosty brew while we're doing it. I'm your host, Marcus Ellinger, and with me, as always, every
Jeremiah
single
Johnson.
episode. It's good to have you back, bro. Seth.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
This is your... I mean, you've been here every time, but this is the official first Jay's back for 2019.
Yes.
Yes, it's been a big year.
Yes, it has.
Already, right?
All 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, before we get going too far, because you were such a dude and brought some beer with you, would you please tell everybody what we're drinking?
Went back to Arizona over the holiday break, and went and visited my favorite brewery, is the Arizona Wilderness Brewery.
Nice.
I hate to say it, but it is my favorite brewery, and they kind of reinforced that when I went back down there.
Yeah.
They got good brews, they got solid atmosphere there. They've gotten bigger though.
So not only just the beer, but the establishment itself.
Yeah, and if you look at their social media pages and whatnot, they're all about just doing crazy stuff and then getting out into the wilderness, getting outdoors, and they actually show some of like the really nice sides of Arizona, not just the crappy brown spot that is Phoenix.
With all the crappy drivers. I remember hearing
Oh
about
my
the
god,
shitty
the drivers down there are so horrible. So horrible. Well, I don't think they're necessarily that bad of drivers. I just think that they're bad drivers from every area of the country converged in one spot.
Oh, there you go.
I really think it is.
And probably a lot of old people. Isn't there a lot of old people in Arizona?
This time of year specifically, there's a ton of old people.
A lot of knuckles on the steering wheel?
It doesn't quite double in population anymore, but when I was down there 20 years ago, it almost doubled in population between summer and winter time.
So you think, you're saying it's definitely getting bigger, the Arizona brewery, right?
Oh, yeah, they've gotten way, way bigger. Their original establishment was a tap room with a few seats inside and then an outdoor seating area, and then they had their kitchen. Now they've got a tap room, a family-friendly area, and then just a straight-up restaurant area. I mean, it's just all that. And then the seating outside is a little bit of seating outside, and then it just wraps all the way around the building now with just this, 3-foot wide area with little tables and stools around it, so you can just sit all the way around the building.
That's a little bit of, the beer epidemic that's going on even here, right? Like, it's expanding to other... I think beer is just exploding. Like, it's still in the boom, right?
It still is, but we've hit the point of saturation, I think, of the market as far as the people who are doing well are being well received because they're making a good product and they're continuing to grow. And we're seeing them really get supported and pushed. But the people have found out who's making good stuff and who's doing the right things, and they're supporting them.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of breweries that are just falling like flies now.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's just that they don't have the product to back it. They don't have the quality.
Well, and really, what I was thinking of when you were saying how the Arizona brewery was smaller and now they're bigger and exploding, it's like when you first go see an opening act for a band,
exactly.
Right? And it's like, this is awesome, and then you get to know them in the beginning, and then eventually it's like they blow up. And it's still awesome. It's good. You're stoked for them, but it's not as endearing as it was before,
it really
right?
Isn't.
Yeah.
The atmosphere at the actual brewery was not as good. I didn't want to just go in there and sit every day with them and just hang out with whoever was there.
Yeah, because you got to also hang out with everybody else. Right?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But I mean, it was a really good crowd before, and they were super packed and busy before though. So, and they were super packed and busy this time too.
Yeah.
But they got more room to accommodate.
Yeah.
But
that's like it's like this kind of double-edged sword, because you're stoked for them, because, yes, that now they probably are going to get more funding to make more beer and do whatever things, which is the cool part about it. But then it's kind of bittersweet, because it's not this, clubhouse. It doesn't have that feel to it anymore, right? It's not as personal.
Same thing happened with the coffee shop, though, that I found when I was down there before.
Oh, really?
So there's a coffee shop that I'd get up early every morning and then just go there and,
So coffee and beer, it sounds like they're getting a lot of kind of Northwest boom going on down there.
Definitely in there. But no, I had to go find coffee, and so when I was down there, because I'm from the Northwest and I'm an addict, I can admit this.
Yeah. Beer, coffee, sandals.
Yeah. Which I wore the whole time I was down there.
Yeah.
Oh, and I still wear them here too. And well, yesterday can't wear them at work. I don't have an enclosed toe, but
yeah,
and heel.
That's totally a Northwest thing. It's like it's like 30 degrees outside, but there's so many people wearing sandals. Yeah, I've done it too, right? At least I don't typically see you wear socks with sandals.
No, I try not to be a socks and sandals guy, but I cannot say I don't do it.
Yeah,
in a pinch.
Yeah.
In fact, it was 34 degrees the day that I left down there, and all I did bring with me was my sandals.
Nice. You were socks. You brought more Washington
I was
to Arizona.
socks and sandals guy for the last 3 hours before I left.
Nice.
Phoenix, because I was stuck outside at my friend's shop outside, and we were hanging out there, and it started raining and getting cold, and my feet were just freezing. Everything else was fine, but my feet, my toes were getting cold, my feet were getting cold. I was like, this is okay. So,
I love that you go down there, and it's like, I see you're expanding breweries and barista stands Arizona, and I raise you 2 socks and sandals.
There you go, exactly.
Now when you go back next year, you're going to see a bunch of socks and sandals out there. It's just going to keep happening.
Yeah, but but yeah, no, I said it was good. I said the coffee shop that I went to down there, it was I can't remember the name of it, but it had such a great atmosphere in that one. It wasn't the one where you go in there and you just see a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it was very just lounge chaired, relaxed. You see a few people reading and everything else, and it's just a relaxed atmosphere. I liked it. It was good, and they had a lot of the cell shaded art. I don't know how else to put it. The really heavy lined art style stuff from local artists on the wall there, and I thought that was pretty cool. I like that. It's kind of like the GTA 5 art.
Yeah.
You know, just real heavy lined.
Yeah. Kind of like I almost want to say a little bit like that pulp comic kind of style.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
And, except for it doesn't have the what do you call it, screen tone shading.
Yeah.
But no, that was pretty good. I liked it. That place got bought out and moved and has now become Black Rock, which is out of Oregon.
Yeah.
And it's just, you walk in and it's heavy edged guitar. It's like, okay, this is way too much for me. I'm not comfortable here.
That's funny. So we should probably drink our beer.
Should we? I think we should.
It's definitely cloudy.
It's
almost got like a little bit of a. You said it is an IPA, right?
Yes, this is the one that we had before.
This is kind of a. Whenever I see the cloudy like that, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but it makes me assume East Coast style.
It is generally.
That's
kind of what the East Coast has put their name to the last few years, was making it cloudy. There's a couple ways they can go about it. One of which is using a higher protein grain, which is wheat.
So it might be more weedy.
They could do that. I don't think they're using wheat in this one though.
It doesn't really have like that banana bread kind of smell to it, really.
No.
Did you notice that?
I did not. But like I said, I kind of was interesting. I intentionally did not bring up the reviews for the last one because I want to see how this goes, review it, and then see how it compares to the last time we had it.
Okay.
But when I was there, I sampled a bunch of their wares. They don't do the crowlers anymore. So these 2 that I brought, this one and then whenever we decide to drink the next one, this is a brute style IPA, so it's going to be a lot cleaner and drier.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, this is very cloudy. It has a very strong citrusy smell, which I remember from before.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited to try this. So
yeah, I'm excited too. It's like old school Nerdbuzzed too, because it's like
in the morning?
11:15 in the morning.
Exactly.
So we're gonna take a beer coma after this episode, probably.
Oh yes.
To all the nerds,
through all the fuzz.
Bottoms up. Let's get Nerdbuzzed.
So I'm pretty sure that is different than from what it used to be, but I'm getting a little bit of the pine and a lot of that citrus to it.
But a lot of the citrus, a little bit of the earthy, and it's kind of a later on your tongue flavors too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
That's
right
where I'm getting
away.
a lot of that pine.
Yeah.
But
definitely. The pine kind of lingers, sort of middle back of your tongue area.
Yeah,
but it's really, I mean, it's pretty smooth though. Like it just like silky slides over your tongue.
And that was when I discovered them 2 years ago. I'd already hit a few breweries before them, and I got to them, and I was actually kind of down about Arizona beers when I was down there before, and I hit them, and it's like, oh, this is amazing, and proceeded to go there every day for the remaining time. Then,
Yeah.
I only hit them twice when I was down this last time, but yeah, it was it was a nice surprise. I hit 5 breweries this last time.
Damn, nice.
2 of them didn't offer, or 2 of them didn't have beers I wanted to bring back, and one of them we already sampled it just off the side because I didn't think it was that great of a beer anyway, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And they offered growlers, and the other ones didn't offer to go at all unless you had a regular growler, and you can't fly with that. So
Yeah. I had a funny, this is kind of off topic, it's sold out beer.
Mm-hmm.
But one of our things, our main thing we're going to kind of talk about today is just some movies we went and saw kind of over break, what we've seen the past couple days. So it's going to be kind of triple movie review.
Oh, yeah.
But before the last one we saw, I was with Adam, Jack's dad.
Yeah.
And we were in the bar, and we
I know who Adam is.
we got a big beer. For
yeah,
everybody else
For
listening.
the
right?
listeners.
Yeah. Father Adam.
They should know Adam by now.
By the way, thank you, everybody, for listening
Yes.
and keeping us going through 2019. We really appreciate it. Go to nerdbuzz.com where you can listen to or watch every single episode of Nerdbuzz 100% free, as opposed to...
Any other percentage of free.
Nice, I had to take advantage of that.
I know.
So we went to La Hacienda to get, it was before the Broly movie, to go see, or to get a beer, right? Of course, classic. And so we get big beers. And after that, the waiter comes over. We look at the time. We're like, we don't have time for another big beer. And I was like, bring us little beers, like little lady beers is what we want before the movie. And the guy goes, okay. So he goes to the bar and he comes back with these 2 little shot glasses of beer and just kind of slams them on the table. And he goes, there you go, lady beers.
That's awesome.
We busted up pretty good. It was pretty funny. Of course, he had the waitress right behind him with our real beers, but he got a good tip. I'll put it that way.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
That was worth at least a few bucks at the
Yeah.
tip. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
Like, here you go, you smart asses. What movie you want to talk about first?
Oh, well, let's see. The one that I watched, let's see, we're doing,
Should we talk about them in, like, watched order, maybe?
yes, so it's Into the Spider-Verse then would be the first one.
Which, I went to go see with, my nephews.
Okay.
And when we went in there, the theater was packed. It was the end theater, right? It's like the small screen theater. The single aisle. You know that's never a good thing when you open the door and it's only one aisle, right? Yeah. And I sat in the very first row.
Oh, no.
I have not done that in so long because it was that packed, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm with my brothers, my brother-in-law, my brother, and they got their kids. And so they want to sit by each other, right?
Yeah.
And there was no other single seats other than the front row where they could sit by each other, right? I gave it up to them because I'm such a dude. And so I watched the whole thing, just head back.
So were you center front or were you side front?
I was at least in the center, the aisle seat. And on the aisle, the seats to the left of me, there was one more row there that was like the short row, not a full one, but I was not going to sit there.
No.
But so I did have to watch the whole thing very hunched down, which I think maybe made some of the visuals a little bit overbearing. But really, overall, I really came out of Spider-Man really, really pleasantly surprised. I didn't think it was going to be bad, but I really didn't think it was going to cater to like me and my nephews and my brother and brother. Like we all have such different Spider-Man levels of nerdiness, right? Yeah. And there was something in there for all of us. I really enjoyed it.
It covered all of it, and it covered the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
But I know when we talked about it before, they had that little spot that was the graveyard scene.
Mm.
And that's all we got to see was the graveyard scene, and then the train sucks them away. And I remember we talked about that before, and you were having major misgivings about it at that point in time.
What did I say?
I can't remember what exactly you had to say, but I remember you were not excited about it, and I was. I'm like, this looks amazing. Like, I don't know, the art style's not this, and you're going on about a lot of little things.
Sure. I wasn't sure about it. And
that's what I want to say. The art style was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, it was done really well. It totally had a lot of nods to comic books. Like it had lots of like anytime they had like an internal monologue type thing going on, it would have pop-ups that would come up on the screen like a comic.
And
which was
then
cool.
the transitions were all done in the comic panel style.
Yeah.
And the frickin'
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I even enjoyed the way they had the two kind of Peter Parkers, because when I was reading Spider-Man, he definitely kind of went through a little bit darker period where him and Mary Jane weren't together, and it was kind of more doom and gloom for him and all that, and you got that Spider-Man in it, right?
Yeah.
Which was cool. And then they also had the other Peter Parker that inspired Miles to kind of take up the mantle in the movie, and I love that they even gave you those two differences in there. And I think my standout favorite, though, totally Nick Cage as Noir Spider-Man.
I was just gonna say before you got there, I want to find the Noir comics. I want to find them and I want to read them.
Yeah,
because the film noir era is something that I love, and I didn't realize they did a Spider-Man that way.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that he did get like at least a short run of comics that you can get that are just him, right? I don't know that some of the other characters, like I know that the Gwen Stacy, like Spider-Woman that she is in there, she has a series that's pretty successful. But like the robot one, right? With the mech spider thing, she I think is only in a comic that is a Spider-Verse comic, where it is just them all coming together, and you got introduced to a lot of them. So I think some of them are just that's it, like that's all you get. They don't really have much of their own comic, but I think that the Noir is one that does. So I think you can, there's probably like a trade that you can get that will have the first 5 or 7.
I'm gonna have to wait a couple years to get it because it's getting a major run right now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, they just announced actually. Gary was messaging me. Shout out to Gary. He's he's constantly bombarding me with all sorts of comic book nerdum. That sounds like a complaint, but it's not. I love you, Gary. Thank you. It was intended to kind of sound like a complaint just for you. But they're bringing back the symbiote, if you're based on the Venom movie, symbiote. Spider-Man, before he sheds the Venom suit, right? And I guess they're gonna have some other spin-off stories with all that, which is, I was thinking about Spider-Man because Disney is gonna finally own Fox, and they're gonna basically own all of Marvel other than Spider-Man, right? And the Spider-Man universe. And so with the success of Venom, which I'm still kind of shocked at that it was received as well as it was, right? It had some great moments, but that movie was pretty bad. It was very 90s terrible. And there can be 90s good. We'll get into that later when we talk about another movie we saw.
Yes.
But I think because of that, there's like this resurgence in what Sony's doing. And so that's obviously, I think, why we're getting this Spider-Man comic book series to start coming out again. But really, I think the shining thing is Into the Spider-Verse. Like I was so pleased with how they handled everything. It's a real nod to I think the older nerds and us all writing this just wave of overwhelming nerdom that's going on, and that I really do think we're on this cusp of it changing, right? Like how many times have I said that? Where we are going to transition into this next generation of nerds.
We already have. Did you see every preview for the movie that we saw last?
Oh, yeah, totally, right? Yeah.
It's the next generation. And
it is.
Big, and it's getting received incredibly well. So
I think it's interesting how it still has all these nods to like our generation of what we've been exposed to, at least. Like maybe not even so much particularly us growing up with it, but our phase of enjoying it as adults is still being acknowledged in there, right? Like they're doing a good job of transitioning the generations over. And even Into the Spider-Verse, I think that was the biggest thing I took away from it was I was so pleased with how entertained I was, but still my nephews were just like beyond entertained.
Oh, yeah.
And so was my brother and my brother-in-law, who are not all up on as much Spider-Man lore as I am, but they totally came away with like, I love the new characters I didn't know before, and I loved how the old ones were acknowledged, and they still got this nice balance of everything. And if there's anything to show a sign of how smooth that transition can happen while still totally acknowledging that it's happening, I don't know if there's a better example than Into the Spider-Verse. I was really, really pleased with that.
And I want to see more and read more of Miles' story.
Yeah,
it was super engaging the way he did, and so I can't relate to him directly none of what he does can I relate to
Yeah.
directly. I'm not into the graffiti art. I'm not into the music or any of that stuff. But it was a story that I could relate to the age that he's at and what he's been done. It's like, hey, I get what he's going through and what it's all that. I can directly relate to the individual stuff of it. But as a general deal, it's like, yeah, I find him as a relatable character, and that's the one thing Marvel has based its entire thing on is the relatable characters.
Yeah.
So, except for some of the X-Men, but well,
it's fine. They just reboot and rewrite them, and it's fine. Which they've totally now done again. I guess is the new thing they're doing.
Okay.
All the X-Men comics are just getting wiped. Like the X-Men have broken up, and somebody's going to go back in time and fix it because that's what they do.
Yeah.
I think if I have only one like really minor complaint about the movie, and I've said this like about like even like Rick and Morty, right? Like people are really into that show, and I think that's a show that came out after our generation. It's kind of that like middle generation to as far as where we're transitioning to. And part of that generation and all the shows is they're so loud, right? They're so loud and in your face.
Yeah.
And there were some moments Into the Spider-Verse where it was so much stuff going on and just like I'm being like sensory overload in the theater.
Yeah.
And it not that it was bad and it like deterred me from the movie at all, but if I had one nitpicky thing to say about it, and maybe that's a bigger...
That was more though the universe convergence scenes.
Yeah, and even just like some of the action scenes, it was like all these like things coming at you, and just
I
of
love
course
that because
I'm only 10 feet away from the screen, so that might have been part
was,
of it.
That was
right?
something I absolutely loved about it, is because, and I noticed they did this in the Dragon Ball movie as well. But they're changing the perspective in which you're viewing action, and you're now viewing the action as if you are the person.
Yeah,
they're taking that first person step into it, and I gotta say, I can actually appreciate first person now in this situation.
I would much rather see it that way than in VR.
Yeah.
Right? Like, then have to wear goggles and, like, get some sort of... have it done that way. I'd rather have that kind of first person perspective.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that that's what it was that I was appreciating him before until we saw Broly.
Yeah.
I saw that, and it was just so blatant in there that it was like, okay.
Yeah, that was really...
And it was like, and then I started thinking about Spider-Verse from that. I was like, oh, wow, they were actually already employing it in that, so...
Yeah. I've wondered about that and how much of that is them potentially planning for some sort of, like, VR versions now. Like, instead of 3D versions, we're going to get VR versions of movies.
You know they are going to do that, but I think that's...
Is that them, like, testing that a little bit, maybe, to, like, see what the reaction to that is?
Maybe. I still think it's a ways off, but...
Yeah. No, I think for everybody to be able to just afford halfway decent VR, we're a little ways off still.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, on the cusp of these next generation systems, and I guarantee that's going to be built in there, all the stuff that people are just, like, that we're really wanting on all these plus systems and whatever, the mid-cycle systems, are just going to be standardized in the next ones. And I think VR is going to have to be in everything. At least the capability to offer it, right? Like, it'll be built in for future potential, anyway. And I think that's the new thing. And I'm a little torn about it. At least with the 3D, you just have glasses and I can still see the person. Like, it's still a social experience.
Yes.
And the VR is so isolating, it's a little bit weird. I'm not sure about that part of it.
I'm going to save this for the next episode. I got to make a note for that, but I'm going to touch on that.
Okay.
What you're just saying right there for our next episode.
Okay, make a note. You got your phone. Yeah. Make a note.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite scene from Into the Spider-Verse?
Favorite scene from Into the Spider-Verse was I really actually enjoyed the scene where they jumped the fence the first time into the underground tunnel there and did the painting with him and his uncle.
Oh, okay.
I absolutely loved that scene. I don't know why
Yeah.
I loved it so much, but it was cool. It was a montage scene, and I bet it was done really well.
Yeah. It's my takeaway scene, which I think is...
Okay. I say another scene I absolutely loved was the...
It had a lot of them. I mean, to be fair, it was a great movie.
Another scene that I absolutely loved was the awkward Mary Jane moment with the waiter scene. I thought that was done incredibly well.
I don't remember that one.
When they sneak into the tower as waiters?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because he sees her again, right?
Yeah.
And it's the depressed
Yeah.
Spider-Man, whatever, with the gut and all. Yeah. No, I enjoyed that, too. I thought that version of Peter was handled really well.
Yes.
It really was. My absolute favorite scene from the whole movie, and this is like a classic. This is my Captain America catching up with Black Panther, or like, those are my favorite stupid moments in movies, but I just love it because it is that. It's such a simple moment that makes it relatable, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, it was when the more portly Spider-Man and Miles are escaping that first facility, and he doesn't know how to use his web whippers or shooters, and the Spider-Man's like, no, it's like thwip, swing, and Miles is going all crazy. Then all of a sudden he starts getting in the rhythm and doing it, and it was like that moment of him teaching and like kind of putting aside his angst. That like there was so much that happened in that little teeny scene. Yeah. As far as those characters' relationship and Miles just personally becoming more Spider-Man, and it was like, I love those moments when the hero is just like stepping up to be a hero, and they're transitioning from their just kind of everyday character and having that hero moment, right, for the first times, which is really awesome. So you spying on our time?
Yeah, I was.
25 minutes. We only got 2 movies left.
No. I forgot my mental note already because I just started thinking something else.
About VR. It's about VR.
About the VR. Oh, yes.
And not 3D or whatever. Make a note. You can make a note. Do we want to review Into the Spider-Verse? Like, you want to throw a number on it? I can make a note here on my phone. We'll both make notes.
Okay. My review score for this in Spider-Verse. I think it was pretty freaking amazing. I love how they brought the characters in from all over. The Spider-Verse itself. I mean, that's what it is. I love how they did that. I got to give it a straight 9.
Really without, like, I don't think there was really anybody in it that was, like, slighted in any way or just kind of, like, pushed off to the side and only had the little pop-ins. Right? No. Like, really, everybody had their moment to shine. It was done... It's hard to do that in a movie, I think, where you have so many characters come together, and usually you have that guy that just has his little pop-in moments, right?
Yeah, well, the first Peter Parker didn't really get to shine much.
Yeah, but yes, that's true. That's true. It was not his heyday anymore.
No.
Okay, so you're gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it. I'm really close to that with you. I'm going to give it a solid 8, actually. I did really, really enjoy it. I think it's a solid movie. Super kid-appropriate. The only issue... so my sister's, like, hypersensitive to anything that her kid can get exposed to that could be negative. Mm-hmm. And she was really okay with it. I want to say there was, like, only 1 or maybe 2 scenes in it that were a little bit darker, but nothing that I don't think you could just go see with just about any kid.
No, there was a few darker scenes, but they were impactful and needed for the story.
Yeah, and there was relevance to it. I guess maybe that's the important thing, and I think that's important for my sister too, is that if those scenes come up, that there's some sort of relevance around it, so that if your kid asks you about it, there's a relevant explanation for it, right? Like, it wasn't in there just meaninglessly for violence or whatever, right? Like, there's a point to why that happened.
So that brings up another good point, and that's something that I've been complaining about a lot, is with storytelling and stuff for the more current generations, it's become just slapsticky, and we're going to tell you it's funny, whether it is or not. You know, it's just, hey, this is funny.
Well, it's kind of that loud in your face, right?
Exactly.
It's like there's no substance to it, it's just shoved in your face.
And this had all sorts of subtleties to it, and it was real storytelling.
Yeah. Solid movie. Yeah. I totally encourage all the nerds to go check it out. You really should, if you haven't already. Everybody that goes and sees it will totally earn 1,000 Nerdbuzz points. On quick little side note about Spider-Man, this reinvigorated.
So does that mean I have 3,000 right now?
Because you saw it 3 times?
Yeah.
No, you have the bank of Nerdbuzz points, okay? You and me have the key to the vault. You have as many as you want. Don't go willy-nilly because it drops their value, though. So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we gotta hoard them still, right?
Just like the beers.
No, we gotta hoard them. So, side note, real quick about...
a duopoly, though.
A duopoly? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Spot on, yes. Patent pending. The Spider-Verse did reinvigorate Spider-Man in me, and I did Platinum Spider-Man.
Oh, did you?
That was like right after watching it. I came home and that weekend at Platinum
Nice.
Spider-Man, and it was one of those stupid things of like, go see Uncle Ben's grave. Like was all I had to do, and so I got it. But that was what motivated me to do it. So the second movie we saw together, since you've been before you came back, was I'm just gonna say, again, I was very kind of pleasantly surprised by this movie. In a completely different way, right?
Yeah.
But I actually was. I left the theater a little bit tear-stained, and my cheeks were sore from my laughter and crying from this movie. It wasn't quite Fast and Furious. I don't want to give it that much credit, but it had that vibe to it.
I think they need 5 more movies to get
Yeah, right? Yeah. At least a weird third one that takes place in Tokyo, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so the movie we saw was Aquaman.
Yes.
And even since Aquaman... So Aquaman has made $1 billion. It is the highest money-making DC movie since the one with
Dark Knight.
Joker, The Dark Knight Rises or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Christian
Heath Ledger.
Bale. Yeah. And so really nothing since then has made that much money. It sits at number 2, dude.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. Like, it's great, and I hope that all the people that paid that much money to go see it saw it from the perspective that I was enjoying it from, but I have to, like, if I'm totally upfront and honest, it's not a good movie. No, it's
not.
horrible. It's such a bad movie, but it's so awesomely bad.
The animation effects are horrible. There's so many things. The acting, the voice, just...
What acting?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right? Like, there's no
It's-
acting in that. That movie is a laundry list of cheesy one-liners. That's
It is.
That's all it was. Terrible one-liners,
Running Man for...
Yes, it's so bad. It totally is. It's Underwater Running Man,
Yeah.
is what that was.
Chill out.
Yeah, do split. Yeah, all of them, dude. It was... I actually super enjoyed it, and one of the parts that...
The pink phone was great, though. I'm sorry. That was awesome.
The pink phone? What
Yeah.
pink phone?
In the bar.
I don't even remember pink phone.
You don't remember the pink phone in the bar?
Too many
like-
tears in my eyes?
You're that Aqua guy. Yeah. Can I get your picture?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I do remember that. Yes. Which, like, sums up that
The whole
movie
movie,
in that
I
one
know.
scene. It totally does. It was so horrible, but I actually really enjoyed it. I came away loving it. And part of the movie that I hate is the terrible, my suit's not on drama stuff. Like, usually that's not my favorite part of a superhero movie, right? One of my favorite parts of Aquaman was totally the, like, his mom and dad scenes with the just garbage green screens behind him and the super soap opera effects going on. And, like, it was some of the worst acting in those scenes, and the just blatant, you knew every single thing that was going to happen by the end of that scene. But I was just, like, buckled in along for the ride on those, and I actually really loved them. I laughed so hard at all those scenes. It was so good. Some of those I loved more than the action scenes.
Yeah. It was special. It was very special. It was, I'm not going to see it again in theater, but I think I'm probably going to end up buying it. It was easy enough. It was...
I mean, I basically own all of those superhero movies, right? For all that universe. And I think I might get it, and it's totally going to be... Where it sits now, it is my Tokyo Drift of the DC movies. I thought that at some point in my life, it might become like BVS. Like, maybe when I go back and watch these, I will discover that it's the shining gem in there. But man, I think it might be Aquaman. Like, I think Aquaman might take Tokyo Drift mantle for me as far as this new generation of DC movies. It's either the competitor is Justice League for me right now, is where they sit.
I actually did like Justice League. It was not a good movie,
No.
but
And it had these Aquaman moments in it,
Yes,
right?
it
Like,
did.
it really did. The moments of just like, oh my God, what are you trying anymore? Right? Like, is this a Friday filming?
Yeah.
What's going on? Like, are we're done for the day?
no, it's a reshoot. Everybody got flown in.
Yeah,
They've already
right.
got things they're trying to do.
Yeah.
No.
But what did I say before we went in? I really hope that DC at some point,
Acknowledges what they're doing.
let's just acknowledge this cheese fest that you guys this cheese ball you've got rolling that you're constantly holding back. Let's just let it roll, man, and see what happens.
They did with
Aquaman's
this.
that movie.
Oh, they totally did.
It completely
And
is
I
that
do got to
movie.
say, I liked the suit.
Oh, when he
he
like the
finally gets
gold,
the suit,
whatever. Yeah,
That was done really well.
and wasn't he? It's funny how the instant they have their suit on, you instantly accept them more as the hero or as that classic character.
Yeah.
Right? He suddenly looks like Aquaman, and I suddenly care less about so much other stuff that he was in because now he looks like Aquaman.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like I'm always shocked.
I never really thought of it that way, but I guess, yeah, in some level that is true, yeah.
For me, I'm huge on I want to relive my kind of childhood glory days of nerdom as an adult, and I want to see them acknowledge that that's who they're catering to, right? It's like we're the people buying the tickets right now. Make him look the way I enjoyed him as a kid,
exactly.
right? And when that moment happened and he does his cheesy little stand, and what does he do? Of course, with it, another hair flip.
Yep.
So many hair flips in this
know,
movie.
that was awesome.
And he does it with his trident and everything. It's like, oh, is that moment that you've been wanting Aquaman to be, right?
And let me say, I'm so happy it's a trident now.
Yeah. Instead of
that 7 thing or whatever.
oh yeah
it's like-
yeah right. The word trident. Yeah,
Yes.
it says try in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that bugged me so much when it's like, you've got your mom's trident. It's not a trident.
Yeah. Your mom's quadrant. What would you call it?
It was a quintet or whatever.
Yeah. Right. Not a trident.
Yeah.
I still, I totally encourage people to go see Aquaman. It's already made plenty of money, but
Yeah.
if you can see it somewhere, just go see it.
It's worth seeing.
If you're of age, have a couple beers like I did.
Yes.
Go in, just chilled out, ready to just enjoy a stupidly entertaining movie.
Yeah.
It gives me a lot of hope for, actually for Shazam.
Oh,
Because that's pretty soon. That's
the last trailer for Shazam though, because the first one looked really cool, and that last one just really brought the cheese in more. And I was like, oh, I don't know.
I might be okay. I'm loving
know.
how they're just embracing
But
it.
well, okay, they're embracing it, and that's good. But the way that the first couple trailers built it up,
Yeah.
I was like, awesome! They're gonna make this semi-serious. Somebody's here.
Somebody's here. They're gonna make it semi-serious.
Yeah, somebody's gonna make this semi-serious movie that's DC based. It looks really good. Yeah. Yeah. So, I heard beer. But no. So it's they're gonna make this semi-cool freaking movie that's hey Mick. And
Did you know Mick was gonna show up?
no.
This was a surprise.
Yeah. Surprise! Now I'm really on the. Are we gonna make the actual announcement now since nobody could hear it on the last episode?
Yeah, we're gonna do a show with Mick.
All right.
That's the bonus.
Nice.
Make yourself at home, Mick. In the kitchen, yeah, do that. We're gonna talk about Aquaman real quick, and then Spider-Man.
No, we already talked.
I mean,
Spider-Man.
then Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball.
If you grab a chair out of the kitchen, you can sit with us.
Yeah.
So
You
do
can
it.
look pretty.
Yeah. Okay, you can do that too. Have a beer, man. Relax. Stupid Mythic, Micketh, whatever he calls it.
Forest.
Yes, is going to join us and hang out and do
Yeah.
some nerdy stuff. So after this episode, do you want to put a score on Aquaman? I'm curious where it's going to be. Some people could give this like a 2, right?
I can't give it a high score for being a good movie. I can't. But
it is. I think it deserves some sort of score for what the movie represents.
so yeah, but do we take the childhood nostalgia into it? Do we take the fact that they're acknowledging the cheesiness of it and for what it is? I really don't know how to score this.
In a way, this movie for DC, for me, has a bit of an Avengers moment. It's like, is representing what I want the DC movies to just acknowledge that they are, right?
I'm going to give it a 6.25.
A 6.25.
Yeah,
Okay.
a 6.25. I really enjoyed it. It's better than okay. It's a little bit better than okay, but I'm not going to say it's a good movie.
Okay. Man.
Do I think it's worth seeing? Yes, I do. But for completely the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think as far as the universe of and what DC, because they've really struggled lately, right? Mm-hmm. I think with a lot of their movies, they've really struggled to figure out what groove they're going to fall into. And I think this, I don't know that I want all the movies to be what Aquaman is after this, but I like that they're testing that range of it, and they're not. Hopefully, they won't be afraid to just adapt that into some of these other movies, which I think Shazam will do. Mm-hmm. So, if this movie represents that,
what we
in
were
the
talking
end,
about with Shazam, I think it's really cool. That the early trailers really portrayed it to be this more serious take with a childhood's view. Child's view. Yeah. On a serious thing, and the last trailer just looked to go straight cheeks like Aquaman is. Yeah. And it's like I was a little let down by that, but overall, it looks like it's going to be good. I think I'm
excited for it. Yeah, I want to see it, and I think it could be them dialing that back a little bit more. And I actually just read something recently about DC movies. I think it was the equivalent of the Kevin Feige of the DC stuff.
Okay. Yeah,
and he basically said, "We're done trying to be Marvel." Essentially, right? Like they have their thing, we have our thing. We're really happy with the success of Aquaman, and we're just going to start developing our characters the way we want to do it, and it's going to be more about the directors taking over that character, right?
Which is kind of Marvel did.
Well, and it's kind of something I've been but without the continuity of a big overarching world, right? And I think that's something I've already been talking about, or that I keep saying is like, why do they all have to interconnect? If they're not going to connect well, then quit focusing on it and do it like comic books and make this director.
What are you talking about? Nothing connects better than Martha.
Yeah, right. It's the most solid connection. To be fair, that connection I never put together before that movie.
Nobody did.
Nobody did. Nobody cares, right? Like that was the one idea that the intern, while he was bringing people their coffees, went, "Hey, their names are Martha," and they all went, "That's it. Let's base the whole plot around that." Jesus, Jack. Yeah, right. Totally. That was a Jack moment. So if I put a score on Aquaman, I'm actually going to give it a 7, I think. Okay. I think it is good. It's horribly awesome, but it is good, and I think it represents massive amounts of potential for where I want DC to go and they could go. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna give it a little bump up. I'm going to give it a full 7. Okay.
All right.
So one more movie to talk about.
Yes.
That we saw just the other day. And yet again, I left the theater with tears.
Oh, so did I.
Tear-stained cheeks, and those cheeks hurt from the amount of grinning and chuckling I did.
It was a cheese fest. It was fan service to the max.
So much.
But it was everything I wanted to see.
Me too. Totally.
It was totally everything I wanted to see. And of course, we're talking about Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Yes. Can we just put it out there right away? I think we can both agree. The best thing DBS has had to offer ever. Like the S might not stand for shitty anymore. Right?
Aside from a few episodes, because there were some really solid episodes in the Universal Survival.
Yes.
But aside from a few episodes, I have to agree with that. This is by far the best. I love the way that they brought Frieza back into it too.
Yes.
Frieza's just totally like, I know I can't beat them. Like he's like actually, Frieza's semi-humbled.
A little bit, yeah.
That's weird.
He's kind of realized his place to some degree. He's trying to reclaim his mantle.
Oh yeah.
The best Frieza moment in the whole movie is when they're fighting Broly, right? And they're both Vegeta and Goku are like, I don't know, this is like out of our league. And so they lure Broly over, and they just do this immediate 90-degree up and leave Broly like a homing missile that hits the mountain right into Frieza's face. And I love how Goku's just like, "Hey, Frieza!" and then blasts up, and Broly's just kicking Frieza's ass after that. But to be fair, after that moment, they go to try to fuse, right? 30 minutes each time.
An hour. It was an hour.
That's over an hour because there's still got to be calm down, catch your breath, whatever, right? Yeah. I'm going to give it a solid hour and a half that Frieza just got pummeled by Broly and stood his ground, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's, like, impressive. I actually came away thinking, Frieza is a badass, dude. I don't even think that...
he said he's been training.
So he has. Finally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he said that's how he achieved the gold form was through training.
Yeah.
Don't you remember that?
Yeah.
So he said he's
that's
been
why
training.
He was so pissed, because it was the first time he actually had to train.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I loved that. It gave me massive amounts of respect for Frieza. I was like, wait a minute. Goku and Vegeta fought him for how long? Maybe a half hour?
Yeah.
Right? And they were struggling and had to bail out, and Frieza's just been toe to toe, not even probably fighting back, just a pummeling bag for an hour and a half. Props, dude. He gets it. And he maintained gold the whole time.
Yes, he did.
So that that was a step up too. And I think
that's right. It was 20 minutes before, wasn't there, something like that?
Yeah, because he got all tapped out. It was like the Hulk up, beefed up when they fought Cell kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I think actually all those little subtle things have so much more relevance now because the Toriyama, is that right? Am I saying it right? He's involved in it now.
Yeah,
right?
I was just going to say
it has way more relevance and continuity. Like those little things might matter in the next season of Super or whatever.
I was just going to say that too. So how awesome is it that this is the first Dragon Ball movie that's felt like a Dragon Ball episode?
Totally. It actually has continuity, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the other movies, you're like, when you watch them, you're like, hey, this is like after the Cell fight. And then like the next scene, you're like, oh, this is before the Cell fight.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's after the Cell fight. No, it's before the Cell fight. It's like, it's always in this weird, like limbo time zone of halfway between sagas, right?
And now because Toriyama was directly involved with this, does this make this complete canon now to the Dragon Ball universe?
I think so. That's what people say. I hate it when people use that word, but yeah.
Yeah, it's what it's going to be. I mean, that's what it is. I mean,
yeah.
People want to know.
I think it does justify it all as that.
Or if you really want to make something else canon, you just go buy it and retcon it yourself.
Yeah, right.
Once you own the property, you can say, nope, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Hello, Disney.
We're going to release our own Nerdbuzzed versions of stuff we bought.
Dude, I hope we get enough viewers to support that.
I think that the interesting thing about this, when you compare it to the other Broly movies, is how much this just kind of was like, meh, to those. Just like, those didn't really happen. This is the actual story of what's going on. I loved that in the other Broly movies, the only thing Broly ever said was Kakarot, and he hated him because he was a little crybaby in the crib next to him. He never once calls him Kakarot through this whole movie. He actually has substance as a character, which again, something I want to see them fight the whole time, which there's a ton of fighting in it. But I cared about Broly in this and like cared about his backstory, and it was great to get those parts of it. And
it was as short and brief as it was actually still a compelling story.
Yeah. Well, I love that how there were so many moments in this movie that acknowledge the stuff that we're such fans of, but then turned around right away and just acknowledged that we're gonna change it and make it our own thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And I thought the highlight that culminated all that together is the one of the final parts of it, when Goku looks at Broly and he says, "And Broly, you can call me Kakarot."
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like he was the first one to do it,
yeah.
Which I thought was so awesome. That was one of my favorite moments.
How awesome
in the
was
whole
that?
movie.
Is this like really the first time that Goku truly acknowledges he's Saiyan and from Planet Vegeta at that point in time?
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever
having that like brotherly sort of camaraderie.
Because he's always been, I'm from Earth. I'm an Earthling. Through everything, he's always maintained that.
Yeah. It is such awesome 90s fanfare and just so catering to anybody that's a fan of that era of Dragon Ball Z. It was the most Z feeling of any Dragon Ball Super stuff. For me, it was.
Nice.
But I really felt the heavy edge guitar for everybody's action scenes, where the only lyrics were their name.
Broly.
Yeah, everybody had their own just chunky heavy edge 90s guitar
hilarious.
with the only lyrics being their name.
Yep.
That was so awesome. I was so into it, dude. And even when I love some of the slower scenes. Yeah, right. That's all it was. All the lyrics and the whole thing. It was so good. Tears, dude. I heard it, but I didn't get to see a lot of it because I was just crying with so much joy. I really loved how this movie also kind of distinguished the Super Saiyan God from the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan.
Yes.
Right? Like, which is ridiculous to say. Mick's chuckling at me in the background. It's the most absurd thing you could say ever. But there's a difference. But they really did establish how almost like Zen-like the Super Saiyan God is, right?
Oh, wait, yeah,
where it's just he's so much more peaceful and just slower to way more kind of Steven Seagal stoic fighting, right? As opposed to the just pure
Steven
rage
Seagal.
of the blue Saiyan.
Sorry.
I loved it when Broly came in to punch Goku and he was the Super Saiyan God, and it wasn't this crazy over the top Z moment. It was him just sliding his hands around to roll him over his shoulder and slowly flip him down, almost like bowing in like peace at the end. Like it had that Zen feel to it, right? And then the instant he fired into the real Super Saiyan God mode, it was just almost rage fest, right?
Yeah.
It was not that at all. It was the total opposite. And I think that's something that until this movie, the first Super Saiyan God was almost this kind of thing we haven't really acknowledged anymore, and we're just moved past. We're going to go into the blue mode and forget about that now. And I love how this movie gave the red God flame God mode relevance, right?
Yes.
Like there's a point to being one or the other. And I thought that was actually really cool. That was one of the biggest takeaways.
If you notice, every single form and every single transformation had a different fighting style.
Yes.
And I appreciated that immensely.
Yeah.
And it was in the fighting style they're going with highlighted the strengths of that style.
Yeah.
And what your God calm bit totally works with that.
Yeah. It was so good. I absolutely loved that movie. It was such a weird limited release that we could have seen it. I almost wish we would have seen it on Wednesday, and I might have gone to see it again like on Friday. I really, really enjoyed it. Like it was that good.
Yeah,
I'm totally gonna buy it when it comes out.
Yeah,
I think the movies so far are the highlight of Super. They totally are.
Yeah,
Resurrection F. Just watch the movie.
Resurrection F was good.
You don't need to watch the 25 episodes that make up that movie. Just watch the movie. I think the first one the movie's not as good, but I totally say the same thing. Watch that movie. Don't watch the 25 episodes.
Yeah, well, the movie did a better job, and I thought the movie was garbage.
The first one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought the movie was garbage until I saw
Battle of the Gods. Is that right?
Battle of the Gods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until I saw the episodes that comprised Battle of the Gods.
Yeah.
And the movie was amazing.
Oh, totally.
So much better.
Sum that
episodes.
garbage up, dude. Yes. So watch all the movies, and then you can watch Super after Resurrection.
I can't remember what episode you told me to start on, but I tried watching Super so many times, and you're like, dude, just start on this episode. And
there's no beer in there. There's a full one here if you want. Yes, skip 50.
And it was 50 or 60 something.
Yeah, it's like right around there.
You told me to start on this episode, and I did, and it's like, oh, I don't know, I'm really not getting into it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, whoa, and it just, and I know I'm binge watching it.
Well, and all you got to do is go back a couple episodes before that, and you're like, oh, this is the movies.
Yeah, exactly.
It's completely the movies. Yeah.
Hi, Mick.
Hello.
Oh God!
So out of the three,
don't touch anything.
No.
Jack can't even get it right, and he does it every day.
So out of the three movies, well, I guess we should score this one and just kind of see where we're at. But
This is by far the best.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, which one was the best? I think overall for other people out there, I think Into the Spider-Verse is the one. If I was gonna recommend everybody else out there to go see a movie, confident.
Okay. You said out of the three movies, Battle of the Gods, Resurrection F. Okay,
this is the best of those. Yes.
Yes.
But I think out of the ones we've been talking about today, I might be in the same boat of thinking.
I think personally, and this for you, I think Spider-Man would probably have a higher impact. Personally,
to me, this is going to sound horrible, and you're probably going to rebuttal this. Aquaman and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse are a little bit of in the same boat for me, where they are transition movies, I think, and I'm more a fan of what they represent than the movies themselves. Does that make sense?
Okay, I can accept this, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to interpret this in a different way, and you can counter it if you want. But it was an origin.
I probably will. It was an origin movie. What? Oh, the first
Spider-Verse.
You think
was
that's
an origin
why?
movie, and you immediately go against an origin movies every single time.
Okay, as far as origin movie though, solid origin movie.
It is a solid origin movie.
Very, and I think regardless of anything else, solid movie. Take your kids to go see this movie. So family friendly. Anybody can watch it. You will enjoy it yourself as the adult. It's a really, really good movie. I totally agree. I think as far as quality and that sort of thing, I think it wins, right? And it's the one I would put at the top as far as recommending to everybody. Totally agree. For me personally, hands down Broly. Broly scratched every itch I've wanted to be scratched since Z. It's everything about all those little brief moments of Super, but in this just awesome sizzle reel of like an hour and a half, right, where it's just like bombarded with awesomeness. It was so great. It's everything I've been wanting to have happen. It cleansed my DBS palette and made and had I want more now. Like I'm salivating for more DBS now.
I loved it. It brought every bit of Dragon Ball back, and they acknowledged every bit of Dragon Ball through the whole movie, and they even did it through that little montage.
Yeah.
I don't remember GT in that montage. I was looking for it. I didn't see it.
No, I don't think, and there's no real movie stuff either from the other Broly movies. They kind of just, that's all, whatever, go enjoy it, but it's not canon.
No, it was everything that I saw in the montage, and like I said, it was such a quick montage, but everything I saw in the montage was all just the serialized publications, the series.
Yeah, and a lot of it was new.
Yeah,
like it was. Some of it was totally like recycled scenes that we've seen in other things before.
Well, no. The montage portion of it was all previous episode images, but it was just Goku through the previous episode stuff. It was. I mean, they had the Goku from Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
In there with the I can't remember the name of the stick, but the extendable rod.
Oh yeah. The power pole.
Yeah, the power
pole.
Right?
Yeah.
Power
rod. That's like Sword Guy. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know his pole that has power.
Just will you leave
Remember
me
it's
alone
a
on
pole?
this one?
Yeah. What's it called? Yeah.
Yeah. But
come on, it's one of the best Jay quotes of 2018. I'm so glad I was there.
no, it was
I
awful.
thank you for that awesome moment. It was so good. It was almost Broly good. Not quite. It was definitely Aquaman good.
So anyway, I want to say what I want to say though is I think Broly was amazing. I think it hit every nerd nerve or itch or whatever I needed to do. It was a fan service film. It was
totally.
That's all it was. Everything about it was, hey, Tori was like, you guys like Broly? Here's Broly. You guys like the fighting scenes? Here is fighting scenes. And they went so over the top.
Don't you think...
how much do you like just their sheer action melting ice and everything else, and then just driving through into the freaking lava, and they're now fighting under lava?
Yes.
That was amazing.
Yeah. Like, I kept thinking through the whole thing, I was like, this is the polar ice cap issue, is right here. It's the Z fighters, man.
Exactly,
right? Totally. I think this movie represents so much what us as fans wanted, but I also think it represents what, as the real creator of Dragon Ball, what Toriyama always wanted to give us as far as that goes. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I think it was as much of this fan service for him as just getting to do his version of what he wanted this whole time and cater to us as fans. And I think I'm hoping anyway that because he was involved is why it was the way it was.
It has to be.
And it gives me so much more hope for anything that comes after.
It has such a different feel than any Dragon Ball movie ever.
Yes.
And the only thing I can think of is he is the one reason why.
Yeah.
It has to be his input, his take on it.
And he's involved with anything Super, I think, that we're going to get after that. So I was under the impression Super was done. Like, that we got the end of Super and it wasn't going to have more episodes. But now, after this movie...
The way they left it off and left the cliffhanger with Frieza at the very end of Super, I was like, no, there's no way they're done.
I wasn't sure. I was like, is that it? Like, are we going to get any more of this?
No.
And I think that, if anything, this Broly movie... There's no doubt. Like, this has reinvigorated everything. I saw it again.
How much do you think that this reinvigorated with him, though? I mean, how much do you think...
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like,
he's like, hey, I'm happy to do this again.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, as much as us as fans are just so stoked to have this thing we've always wanted, I think he's as stoked to finally give it to us.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's like this is what he's wanted to give us this whole time. And I know that an anime production schedule is absurd. And during the era of Dragon Ball Z... I could see being burnt out on the thing you're so passionate about so quickly, right? but now it's not like that as much, at least with his like global popularity, right?
You know, the one thing I don't get though is the animes. They come out weekly,
Yeah.
and they hold those back, and they give us the Bulma episodes, the filler episodes, for when they don't have the manga stuff to reference, the official story to reference.
Yeah.
How is it that one person creating a single manga that's 26 pages, right? Him, and you know, he's got a creative team, so all he's creating the story, doing the rough sketches of everything, and then it goes to an anchor, and the anchor is the person who comes through and gives the final sharp edges and stuff. If you ever watch the Bakuman, they cover all this stuff in there.
Yeah.
But you watch that, you know, so they're doing this ridiculous. They're held to that ridiculous schedule anyway, just for their publication. Jump's going to hold them to that, or whatever publication that's syndicating them. Animations are hundreds of thousands of frames, and you just recently did it just with a little 30-second blip.
Oh my god.
You know,
7 hours. 7
yeah,
hours.
no, I know, but I'm just saying a little 30-second blip, and you know that's for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And they're doing episodes that are 26 minutes.
Although, to be fair, anime is really good about, and there were scenes in Broly where, like, one character's there and their mouth will open and close, and then the other two characters, like, their heads are popping up and their mouths are just below, like, their helmet, and you'll keep hearing them talk and have conversation, but they're only animating one guy's mouth, right? Like, they're not doing...
No, I know, but what I'm saying is there's still hundreds...
Not that it still isn't insanely,
there's hundreds of thousands of scenes, and hundreds of thousands of... And even if you're making individual cells for arms and for legs, and these have to be now constructed into this and moved around and stuff, you know, that's still... Somebody's got to sit down and do that. Yeah. That takes time, and it's got to be more involved than static frames.
I would think so.
You know, and they're exceeding. They're moving faster than the anime, the static frame, the manga.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think all that, as far as anime, if just in general goes, that is one of the reasons that that I acknowledge My Hero so much. Like, My Hero, the animation quality in My Hero has not dipped once, and it's very consistently coming out. I don't know where the manga's at in that. I'm assuming it's probably way beyond whatever we've watched. But now, is
there a My Hero manga, or is this a straight anime? Okay.
Yeah, I think it is based on a manga. But that is one, as far as a series goes, I'm constantly impressed with how the quality in that show will not dip.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's what I really hope is going to happen here and I think we're on the verge of it in 2019. I think we'll see more of it in 2020. But I think we're getting so oversaturated with all of our nerdy stuff, which I think is starting to include animes. Like, animes are really popular, and they're everywhere now. Netflix is making their own, and, like, they're just, animes are everywhere.
Well, Netflix isn't making their own; they're syndicating.
They're bringing them in, and they're promoting them here, right? And so many of these other nerdy things are happening, all the superhero stuff and whatever, and we're getting so saturated with it that those that really want to make it and make themselves relevant are going to be the ones that shine, right? And they are going to be those ones.
That's why I started this episode out with the beer.
Yeah, totally. It's totally the same. Full circle. Nice, Jay.
No, but I'm serious. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's totally true. I think that nerdom we're starting to hit that point.
That's a good thing, though, because I mean, what that's doing is the content you're going to be getting. You're not going to be getting the garbage content that you were so clamoring for just because you wanted it so bad that we're getting it and we're accepting garbage content.
Yeah, and I think you're still going to get that.
We're going to get
that
it.
Is still going to come
DC's
out.
Still here.
Yeah.
So, not
but
sorry.
But again, coming back to the Aquaman, even in that,
but they've accepted
they're still figuring it out, and they're figuring it out with the fan in mind, which I think is the important part.
Finally, the first ones did not have the fan in mind.
Well, they did, but totally with this profit in mind.
How can you take those two stories? I'm sorry, these are the most iconic DC stories. That
we're talking BVS. We won't say the name, but yes.
We're talking the two.
But I think that's why they used those stories, because they thought they were doing what we wanted to see.
No. They saw cha-ching when they saw those stories. That's
totally.
all they saw.
Yes.
They did not take those to us and bring them to us in this idea of we're doing this for the fans. That was solely we're doing this for the money.
Yes.
And it showed. And it was garbage, and I'm not going to watch that movie ever again.
And I think that some of DBS.
So if you ever want me to leave the house, just put that on.
Just put that on.
Yep.
It's time for Jay to go throw on some
Yep.
DBS. Nice. I'm gonna buy you like the ultimate super collection edition of that movie, and we'll see how long it just stays in the cellophane. You have to keep it.
I won't get rid of it.
There will be this little half inch by 4-inch space that you're gonna have to store that somewhere. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
I'll probably display it in the cellophane.
Yeah, I think if like going
See that
all,
movie up there? Yeah, never watched it.
Yeah, right. Never gonna open it. Just be a coaster. We should just put it on the table. Get the deluxe edition with 2 discs and just be coasters right here. I think that is kind of an overarching point to all these movies, though, that we talked about, is that how much there is this acknowledgement for that transition, and that the people making it are maybe kind of starting to get what we want as fans, and they're also getting that the market is so saturated that if we don't start making somewhat quality and giving them what they want, it's going to get totally lost in all the saturation, right? It's not going to stand out and be the one to kind of raise the bar. We need ones to keep coming to raise the bar.
And that was my
instead
point.
of fillers.
And that was my point, is the fact that, if the market's full, you got to bring quality product, and that's a win for us.
Yes, totally. As fans, I think it totally is. We're not going to settle for mediocrity the whole time, and we need quality content, and I think that they're starting to get that. I think that's the one thing that Marvel kind of grasped right away, and they really started to figure that out. But even their market is starting to get saturated, and they need to figure it out with their next jump. This year is going to be huge for Marvel.
I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with that too.
Yeah, me too. I want to see.
I've seen
Spider-Verse made me excited for it. To be honest with you, it
yeah.
was like, look how well this animated movie acknowledged it. They didn't try to shy away from it at all, and they did it so well. The MCU is going to have that movie and that moment where that really happens, and we might get it this year. I'm excited for it to happen.
If you saw that, though, that was Spider-Verse was in association with movie, so that is part of MCU.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how it all plays out. We'll see. So just go see them all. I think they're great. Yeah, any
really
nerd
good.
should see all of them.
So we get a score.
Score Broly. Oh, did I not do that? Let me see. I didn't even write it down.
Did we not do that?
Mick showed up and threw us off. I'm going to blame it all on Mick. We do that when he's not here anyway, so...
You're gravity
right. What do you give Broly?
What do I give Broly? I'm going to give Broly a 8.5.
8.5. 8.5. I'm going to give Broly... I'm going to give it a solid 9. I think it is what we have wanted as DBZ fans the moment we were exposed to Super. We have been wanting a Z moment in Super, and this is Z.
That was Z.
So Z. Super. It is what it is, and I don't know that you'll get it again for a while, because now we're going to go to another season or something.
And how many times did we get to hear Kakarot, you fool? That was awesome.
Yes. It was so good. It really was so good.
That's like my favorite Vegeta line ever. Kakarot, you fool!
Yeah. It just calls him out all the time. So now we also get to review our beer. I have a little bit left.
You got another one there.
I do. I'm going to drink it. We're going to do some drinking today, buddy.
Oh, yeah, we
are. I really like this beer. It definitely leaves a little bit of the... I preferred it when it was first opened.
Really?
Really cold.
So, the malt body grew. As it warmed up, you really started to taste the malts. I thought they were really well thought out and really well placed. And I'm not saying this because I just like this brewery. This brewery is the reason I like this brewery is because they're giving quality product.
Yeah.
And you can see that they care about what they're making. The citrus, just the straight up orange peel. You're getting the zest flavor, the peel, really strong. It's coming out later.
Yes.
Really strong. That's what's lingering. You're getting a little bit more of the bitter, which makes sense for that.
I totally have gross beer breath.
Oh, it's awesome. I love it. You're getting that. The pine kind of fell off a little bit, but it is still a very resinous flavor to it. Tons of malt flavor. It's sweet, but it's not just hanging on you and lingering.
I wanted to see, what was the percentage here?
It's 5
6.8.
Yeah, 6.8, yeah.
which is a pretty decent number.
It's a pretty decent number, yes.
Yeah, and
It's
it
working.
doesn't taste overly. It tastes like everything's utilized.
Yes.
Right. It doesn't. You don't. There's not like
It's not
residual
under-attenuated.
sweeteners and stuff. Yeah. Which I do also appreciate about it. Right. If
That's
you're
a
gonna put it in
Nerdbuzzed
there,
classic right there.
use it. It is. I mean, I would totally be stoked to have this in my fridge. I wouldn't drink it on days other than GTA Tuesday, right? Like just as a drinking beer.
No.
I'd be tempted to put it behind another beer in my fridge. So
Oh, no, I don't
maybe-
share this one. Well,
Yeah, this is
with
a
you
keeper. I don't know what it cost you, but I'm assuming this wasn't a cheap beer.
No.
Yeah, so it might go behind another one in there, right? I'll put some cheap beers in front of it, scare them away.
None of this was cheap.
No, I assumed it wasn't. That's the problem with the boom, right? Is like
Yeah.
it is kind of the repercussion we're facing. I
It's
think
because I care about
overarching
you,
theme for everything.
and I care about how the show goes and all this. I had to bring something that,
Is
was
it?
worthy. Thank you.
There you go.
Wait. Hair flip. Okay.
Nice. Yeah. With your true trident. I'm gonna give this. I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it a solid 8.
I'm gonna give it. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the 8 as well.
Okay.
It's a
I
great
thought you were
beer.
gonna one up me there.
No, that's about where I was.
Gonna give it an 8.5 or 8.2.
Okay, I'm gonna 8.1.
Just out of
8.1,
spite.
just to be better than you.
Okay, beer. J 8.1. Mark, where are you, Jack? And I give it an 8. All right, we don't even need him anymore. I'm cutting off his paycheck.
All right, no more water for
So
him.
please keep watching. We never picked an anime. Did you want to shout that out real quick?
Are we gonna do the one that I was talking about earlier?
Go for it. I'm fine with whatever. So
Okay. I had gotten on a recommended list, and they recommended this show Erased, and I was like, yeah, whatever, And then it came up on another thing that popped up later on one of my social media feed things. It's the advertisement type things, and it comes up and it says 10 anime that you've never heard about but are actually good. And Erased was in there, and I was like, oh, I remember that from the one that was recommended before. So I checked it out. I'm on episode 3. Just starting it.
which is the Nerdbuzz rule. You have to at least watch 3 before you totally kibosh it.
But this might be bad because I liked it since the first episode.
Okay.
So
Stop 3 before the end.
First-
Maybe it might like
first two episodes were good, and I'm on my way into the third episode, and so I'm gonna say, why don't we just do Erased?
Okay, so we're gonna watch Erased anime. I know we haven't done that for the past couple months
Yeah,
of 2018 because of Red Dead, but
yeah.
we are gonna watch anime, and next month we will totally do a nerd play.
Definitely.
So this is a heads up. This is a jump on our anime.
By the way, I just
watch
got
Erased.
into. Thank you for Christmas, by the way, but I just got into God of War.
Oh, you did? You picked it up. It's a solid game.
It's been pretty amazing so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then I'll put out a vote like on Twitter or something for a nerd play when I hear what the next games are. And vote. Get involved, please.
Yes.
Comment to us. You can just give me a hard time if you want. Whatever. Get involved. We'd love to hear from you. We're doing every other week live show, so join us there on our YouTube channel, and you can comment there. And Jack will frantically try to respond and be really terrible about letting us know when you did comment. But we will try to make it all
I am
work
quite
and get
aware of
better
that one
about it.
because
Yes.
I try to be involved, and it doesn't get brought up until like 3 subjects later. And
Yeah, well, and there's a bit of a delay too on
know
the
this.
watching and the typing and like.
but I've had him respond pretty quick to it sometimes, so I'm like, it's not that big of a delay.
Yeah, well, we want to be more involved with everybody out there watching, so please get involved with us.
Are we going to try
We'll do
changing
it.
mediums, or are we just going to keep it on YouTube? Or
I think YouTube seems to be the most reliable right
Okay.
now. I know there's a lot of other ways to do that stuff, and
you
I've
got
dabbled
Twitch
in
and
it,
Discord
but
and all that.
I maybe it's just like a financial thing, and YouTube's got the most money out of them all, but it seems to
They
be the
clearly
most
do. I mean,
reliable, right?
YouTube
So
is Google. So
I would like to offer people reliable quality content. We're going to
Yes.
emphasize on reliable. And
Yes.
so, but tune in. Please just comment. Let us know. We'd love to know if there's something
Wait,
that
did you
you
say
want us to
sound
talk
checks
about.
before episodes?
Yeah, right? We'll get into that, Nick.
Yeah.
So stay nerdy out there.
Yeah.
Drink responsibly. Nerd recklessly, as always. To all the nerds,
Through all the fuzz.
bottoms up.
Let's get nerd buzz.
I get a drink and try to do Jack's job. It's gonna get good, guys.
And that's only one beer.
Talking about beer.
Talking about nerd culture, you're on Nerdbuzzed.
At the end of our episode.
Marcus and Jeremiah,
Stop talking.
you're on Nerdbuzzed. Let's get Nerdbuzzed.